Hey up and away folks, in today's video I am celebrating 300 subscribers and I thought I'd celebrate this occasion with a look at some Train Simulator DLC. The first expansion for the game came out when it was referred to as Railworks back in 2009, and since then third-party developers have tried their hand at making the game go further with more locos, rolling stock and routes. Some great, and some, well... I thought I'd have a look at some of my favourite locos, but to keep the video somewhat short, I'll be sticking to heavy freight locomotives, as that's what I tend to drive more often. I often relish the chance to challenge myself with a whacking great hill and a ton of wagons rattling behind. To be totally fair, I'm not going to include any freeware locos or the Kuju 7F, as it's not fair comparing any of the following locos to those. I'm also not featuring locos that I don't have in my collection, as I can't really give my thoughts on something I don't own. The first loco I'm going to talk about is the excellent Great Central Railway 8K from Caledonia Works, introduced to the game in 2019 and is an absolute masterstroke from Chris Wilson, who was commissioned by Bruce Astell to make this loco. Given that I was welcome to a new 8K is an understatement, given that the last 8K we got was by RSC in 2013, which wasn't a bad loco for the time by any means, but the sound set and overall modelling rather dates the model. On top of that, it came from that dark period when RSC, later Dovetail Games, would only release one variant for each loco. The new 8K was much improved in that regard, with up-to-the-minute texturing and modelling techniques, which enable every version of the 8Ks to be represented, from the Great Central Originals to the Swindenized 3000 class. We also have weathered and pristine variants too, which only adds to the play value. On top of that, a fresh sound set from Steamtown Supreme makes this an incredibly enjoyable locomotive to trundle with. The physics are excellent too, with plenty of power to haul even the most stubborn wagons up steep grades. The modelling is to Chris's usual high standards, and the locomotion script completes the package. All in all, a very charming engine, which I'd recommend to anybody who loves their heavy freight locos. Then there's the Stanier 8F from Bossman Games, which is a highly addictive freight engine to drive. A welcome replacement for the aging Woodhead 8F, the engine mixes advanced controls and physics with a great model and textures. Like the 8K, it has plenty of power on tap, but being an advanced loco, you have to earn that power. There is an automatic fireman to do the stoking if you'd much rather focus on the driving. The only compromise is that you have to work the injectors, which, if you use the keyboard shortcut, is an utter doddle. This pack includes most variants of the 8F as they operated in the UK, including the lesser known LNER 06 variant that Doncaster built locos for during World War II. You also get a great selection of rolling stock included, so that you can get driving straight away. One nice touch is the weaker physics on the weathered locos, which adds more challenge and gives you a chance to reenact those 8 freight blues. We can't talk about the 8F without talking about the engine that replaced it as a War Department machine. The Riddles WD is one of those unsung heroes which made me giddy with excitement when it was announced. I love these locos. To me, British steam in the 50s and 60s is seeing one of these coated in grime and rust clanking at the end of a long coal train. They lasted a long while too, given they were only meant to survive wartime. They proved their versatility all over the network under British Railways, so it's a crying shame that only one of the 280s survives in preservation today. The Victory Works pack is pretty much what we come to expect from this developer. Well modelled with a ton of variation, a plentiful supply of wagons to stick behind it, and a script that allows for a drive as simple or as advanced as you choose. I love the weathered versions as they just capture the photographs of these hard-working engines so well. Definitely one of my favourite engines in game. Another engine that grabbed my attention during development is the incredible London North Western Railway G2 by Mesh Tools. an engine that doesn't get much of mention now, but was such a game changer when initially launched. It whistles when you request to pass a signal of danger, has that gorgeous offbeat exhaust so characteristic of the prototype, and all the necessary details of the engine can be selected just by typing in the running number and year of the scenario you wish to set. Certainly a welcome take given the somewhat complicated character strings of VictoryWorks products. This is an advanced loco and doesn't pretend it's anything else. The regulator and reverser are back to front. The brakes creep on when it primes, and the dirtier it is, the more of a pig it is to drive, which only adds to the challenge. It's also worth noting that certain steaming and operational characteristics appear to differ from engine to engine, so you never truly master it. There are assists to automate the injectors, trimmers and firing so you can focus on the driving. There's even a mode to put the regulator and reverser the correct way round. I got my copy when the pack was relatively new, so I get the Northeastern stock pack, which includes a J50, J94 and a plethora of wagons. A truly great engine which brings out the engineman in you. Absolutely adore this engine. Even though this video isn't a list as such, my absolute favourite engine in Train Simulator has to be the VictoryWorks Q6, and I can't quite put my finger on why. The sounds could do with more oof, the power isn't exactly as punchy as I'd like, and the textures aren't the best I've ever seen. Maybe it's the absolute charm that the prototype holds in spades, or the steam brake, or even that it's just such a nice engine to drive. It's challenging enough and on a good day will put on a great show. All in all, it's little wonder that Gerald, as I've named the engine, has yet to tire me out. A great amount of well-modelled rolling stock with good sounds never leaves you short of trains to pull, but I think the main draw to this pack is the overall charm and character the loco has. It's hard to pick out serious faults with this engine, though Gerald is by no means flawless. I still enjoy driving this engine, and I have to thank Thomas Dibden or Dark DJ Productions for kindly gifting this engine to me. It truly is a lovable engine and, as stated, my absolute favourite. So, what engines would I love to see of this type in Train Sim in the future? Well, we have a Churchwood 2800 on the way, so it seems fitting for us to have a 4700 Night Owl to complete the Western heavy freight roster. The LNER is surprisingly underrepresented in this area, so perhaps a Gresley 02 Tango or P1 Mikado. There aren't any heavy freight southern locos, so a Yuri G16 tank or a Monsal Z-Class would be welcome engines in the game. In terms of the LMS, so many people are crying out for Big Bertha, but without a licky bank for her to work on, there's little point. A Lancashire and Yorkshire Class 31 would be epic though, or perhaps its smaller brother, the Class 30 with cylindrical firebox variant maybe. But what about what we have? Well, a new 9F would be welcome, as would a War Department 210 when VictoryWorks gets round to doing that. An updated Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway 7F should definitely be considered. However, given that the train simulator market is more concerned with modern image, and when it's not that it's just oversaturating the amount of Western region steam we have in game already, it's very unlikely we'll see any significant numbers of new freight locos in Train Simulator anytime soon. Still though, we can appreciate what we have in game already, and with developers such as Caledonia Works around, we're never going to be short of interesting locos coming out in the future. Anyways, that's it from me guys. I hope you've enjoyed this little special, and I hope to see you all again soon with more exciting content in the future. Thank you all for your support. Roll on 400!